Hello and welcome to this edition of the Cattleman's Web Update. Well, cattle ranchers tend to be getting larger and less help around. Cattle working facilities are becoming much more of a necessity that are functional and well designed and can minimize the stress on both the cattle and the people working. We're in the Leland Red Angus Ranch located in southwest McKenzie County today with Todd Leland and Melvin Leland, the owners and operators. And they've got some excellent working facilities here, and we'd just like to share a little bit with you some of the features they have. And Mel, I was going to ask you, the first thing that we probably look for in a cattle handling facility is a large corral to gather cattle in. Would you tell us a little bit about your system here?
Yeah, we try to have our setup to where cattle will flow into it when we gather them and bring them in, and have large enough pens to where cattle aren't too crowded. Cattle don't like to be jammed together, and then we do some initial sorting out of the bigger pens.
Now, I noticed you've got some different size pens out here. Maybe just tell us a little bit how you bring your cattle in and how it works.
We normally bring cattle in from the west here, or sometimes from the east, depending on which pastures we're coming in from. And we'll bring them around and put a large group over in that pen to sort cows and calves. We've got 2 gates there. We can put a man on each gate and put 3-4 people horseback, and we can sort cows and calves very quickly. Cows will flow out and calves will hold back, and then when we get ready to vaccinate or whatever we're going to do with the herd after they're separated, well, then we can come around into this pen and come down our alley and do other sorting or loading or whatever we're going to do with
I think that brings us up to another point. After sorting our pens, you need a functional set of alleys. I notice you've got about 16 foot wide, and you got a number of different alleys here. Do you just process cows, or do you also do some weighing?
Well, we weigh a lot of cattle out of here for neighbors. We have a certified scale here, so there are neighbors that ship cattle out of here, and so it functions well for that as well. It wasn't built with that design in mind, but it works well that way, so we can do it.
But even people that don't weigh out cattle, a lot of times you have to sort off heifers or things. The sorting alley is a pretty important part of any working facility, then, you'd say.
Absolutely, and to have it functional to where you can go different directions if you need to for your sorting, so you don't have to mill the cattle around.
Well, maybe we could go down and Todd could show us some of the sorting features you've got. Sorting gates, and I should mention that Leland Red Angus also run a registered herd, so they have to do a lot of sortings, not only calves and work calves, but also yearlings and adult animals as well. So Todd, I notice you have a number of gates here that you can do some sorting off of.
Yeah, if you got just go a couple different directions, 2 or 3 people can handle it pretty easy. One guy can run both of these gates, and it works best to have 2 people in the alley if you have the second one to follow you to bring cattle down. And then, like when we AI, we go several different directions, so we'll get a few more people and we can go 7 different directions. We got a couple different directions over there, and then we can go about 3 different directions this way. So
you've got a design though where you can kind of take advantage of cattle's behavior aspects as well, what they'd like to do.
Yeah, they're like, as far as loading out and stuff, we can bring them up that alley over there, and then kind of going back the way they come from, and the same as when we go into the working facilities, we'll bring them up the alley over there, and then they turn around and come right back the way they come in, and so they think they're getting back.
So now the next piece of equipment I guess you need is a good gathering pen and working area. Let's go take a look at that. Yours designed to take care of the cattle behavior that they tend to like to go where they just came from.
Right, cattle like to go where they've been comfortable, and so we come back around, and there's a curve to our working facility here. It usually works best to bring them, like on cows, bring about 5 cows at a time, and they'll flow up, and then we've got butt stopper bars that we can use, and then get another 5. We can hold about 8, 9 cows at a time in the alleyway, but It usually works best to put them in about 5 or 6 at a time.
So if we had somebody that actually had limited help, this would work actually pretty good. 2 to 3 people could do a pretty good job of working cattle.
3 people, especially if the person back here works quietly, can keep those cattle just flowing. And sometimes you don't even have to move. They'll follow each other right on through.
I noticed you've got totally enclosed alleys. You think that's a necessity, or can it work if somebody even has an open alley?
I think if you have a curved system, it's better to have it closed. If you have an open side system, I think you're better off to have a straight line chuteway.
I think it's so let people work with the materials they've got and the cattle they've got, and they. Now, I know you've incorporated some features so you can do AI, you can work calves, you can sort off whether they're bulls or heifers before your sale. Maybe just take a few minutes and explain some of the features you have here, Mel, in your facility.
Well, first of all, we've invested in a hydraulic silencer chute, which we like very well. It does have a scale under it. Todd will function that. Scale it. Hydraulic will lift up so you can clean out underneath to make it nice and clean, and then it drops back down to your weighing position. And that way when you're medicating cattle, we have the scale there. You can check for your weights and get your doses as accurate. We do have a canopy over the chute, primarily just under inclement conditions, so it's nice to be able to stay dry. Also, in cases of wind, we have rolled tarps down the side to shut off the wind, which are essential at some points. But also, with the hydraulic chute and your electronic and hose hydraulic components, it's nice to keep them protected from the sun and the elements. We don't actually do any AI to speak of here outside of maybe some isolated cases. We do that in a pasture situation. We don't like to do that in the system that we normally work our cattle in, just because it's cattle are a little more comfortable if they're not in a crowding situation when you're breeding.
But for folks, though, that do want an AI, a palpation chute or some kind of blocking alley to get in and out would be a very important feature, wouldn't it?
Oh, yes. Yep.
I want to thank Melvin and Todd Leland and the folks here at Leland Red Angus Ranch for taking the time to share their facilities with us. They've got a lot of nice features on theirs that hopefully maybe there's some ideas you can incorporate into yours. Coming up on the next screen, there are some websites that if you wanted to learn more about cattle behavior, cattle handling facilities, go ahead and take care of those. And and stay tuned for future cattle web updates that'll be on the web here in the future.